What is with the age phobia of dating sites? I mean, you go on Plenty of Fish or OkCupid, and you're a 35-year-old male or older, and you're trying to pick up on chicks that are under the age of 26 and just have a normal conversation with them. It's pretty much a zero. They're not even going to accept the messages from you. And no matter what you do, the minute they find out you're an older male, they're going to call you creepy, they're going to call you gross, they're going to call you weird, they're going to call you an asshole and a douchebag. No matter how nice you are, you could be the same personality as an 18-year-old dude and a dude that they like, and it's still going to be a major fuck you just because of your age. I mean, you know this for a fact because these women can choose on at least Plenty of Fish to not even accept messages from guys over a certain range of age. And on OkCupid, you can set your preferences, but you can't not accept messages from them. But when they talk to you, they're pretty much just bitches. They'll hate on you no matter how nice you are. And America is an incredibly age-phobic society. Well, just look at the most popular television shows from the 90s and now. Big Bang Theory and Friends. Boring 20-somethings that all hang out together. And when they're in their relationships, it's more like a brother-sister thing, except for like the cut scenes where they're making out occasionally. But it's more like pecks on the cheek. They seem old school to me. It's like there's no real love. It's just more like likiness, cute little high school shit. It's like you might have seen those scenes with like Monica and Chandler making out for a second, and then they go and they fuck and whatever. But I'm telling you that but like most of the show, it's like they're just like boom boom, like brother sister, kind of like they're friends, you know. But with people where the guys over 35 and the chicks under 26, it's like they can't wait to get out of there and screw around because the people that are into age gap relationships, which really should be everybody, are more into having sex, more huggy kissy all the time, more like the woman is being held by the guy, the woman is incredibly sexual towards the guy, more open-minded. But there's the phobia against it. Like they'll say, oh no, it's creepy. No, it's not. I mean, with all my relationships that I've had in the past, they've all been with older women and women my own age. And the way that I got them was they came over and I cooked for them, and then we started like making out, and then we fucked. But I'm trying to do something a little more romantic with the younger women because in my mind, younger women are like goddesses. And I want to be more romantic. So the offer is Red Robin. Of course, it's a chain restaurant. And it's not a guarantee that we'll just go have sex. I hate it when women, it's usually like the real preppy, nerdy types. More like the Hillary Clinton supporters. They're like, what entitles you to sex, they'll say. I thought we were going to have a burger and fries. Who the hell was talking about sex? And then they'll ask, what entitles you to date younger women? I don't know. What entitles millennials to only date millennials? What entitles people in the 90s to only date people in the 90s? What entitles people to the telomere attrition in the kids when the father is under the age of 35 due to the 2012 research that just obliterates what we knew from 1912 on? What is with the rise in medical conditions to 1/3 since 1900, more cancer in kids, more violence, the most violent century ever, the worst 100 years called the 20th century, that was even worse than the 1,000 years of the Middle Ages when inbreeding crashed the dynasty of the Holy Roman Empire, which was the Habsburg monarchy, the Danubian monarchy, the Habsburg dynasty, and the Holy Roman Empire, where inbreeding was pretty much the matter of course before Shakespeare's time. And it was controversial for Romeo and Juliet to be together just because they were different from different houses, which means that they were from different families. I mean, you look at that. Romeo and Juliet was controversial because the couple involved. It wasn't the fact that there were 15 because that was normal at that time. It was the fact that they were from different families. That's what was controversial about Romeo and Juliet. Oh, Romeo, the house of Mercutio, and Juliet, the house of Capulet, want to get together, and that's gross for that time because they're not related. And you look at that now, and it's like, dude, that's icky. Like, the controversy was the fact that they weren't blood relatives and they'd have to merge their houses. You look at that now, and it's like, ew, that's creepy. That was considered creepy back then? Different families breeding? Yes, because in the 1600s, when that was written by Shakespeare, inbreeding was at its height, and it caused things like the Habsburg jaw and incest depression and like weird sickle cell anemias in the families and the royals, and of course the lower classes interfamily fuck too. Like brother-sister relationships were common just for retaining an acre of land. It's disgusting. So I kind of feel like I'm ahead of the curve. I mean, we don't have a royalty to crash, but we have the oligarchy, the corporate royalty of our day, where it's like you watch television and it's just this intra-ageal shit. And it's not just the millennials. I know I pitched them shit, but it's been going on for like 100 years. Whereas like you see people on TV and it's always baby boomer, Gen X, millennial, but there's no intergenerational breeding. Sorry, I didn't mean to shocker. I hate Dane Cook. But you look at plants and it's like old seed rots and then the new flower comes through and blah, blah, blah. Primates, the silverback is usually the one until the young punk males stand up, but eventually the silverbacks gain control and have their 30 wives. You know, maybe you don't have 30 wives, maybe have one wife and the younger dudes wouldn't attack you within the animal kingdom, but they're animals. What are you going to do? It's like that for lions. It's like that for wolves. It's like that with all diploids, which means two gender species. But see, you look on television and it's all intra-generational stuff, intra-ageal stuff where everybody's the same age, like 21. They're all 21. They're hanging out in the bar on these stupid, lame sitcoms. And it's always like a controversy when Tom Selleck's character comes through on Friends and he's with Monica and he's like in his early 50s and she's in her mid-20s. But you saw that relationship actually worked until, you know, the television censors came in and made it a Chandler-Monica thing, even though that Chandler is constantly depressed and Monica's constantly stressed out. Yeah, you may not see it all the time, but the telomerase in people under 35 reaches overabundance, which causes depression, anger, stress, weakened immune system, cancer. But we live in this incredibly ageist society that just like worships 20-year-olds and younger, and anybody outside that hip new generation that comes in is seen as the creep or the weirdo, no matter how successful he is and no matter how kind he is. They really have to like learn to accept the Tom Selleck character because he's the old man and he's the wise one. So that the whole asking of what entitles me to date younger women is like saying, you're black, what entitles you to date white women? Oh, I don't know, bigot, maybe shut your bigot mouth and just go away. And I've done that, so like, shut up. Because I'm tired of dealing with it. It's a stupid question. It's like asking, oh, you're a man, what entitles you to have sex with another man? It's none of your goddamn business. It doesn't affect you. It curbs the population, and it also, gay weddings are fabulous, and they generate a lot of money. So you look at that, the SCOTUS was mostly old conservative Republicans, and then they were the ones that legalized same-sex marriage across the board in 2015. So it's weird how we just don't accept that. I think that all men over 35 should be dating women under 26, and we just need to make this a law, because it causes telomere attrition in the kids, just like inbreeding. In fact, 5 times worse if you look at the violence of the human species in the 20th century compared to the Middle Ages. The whole youth bandwagoning thing that's gone on for 100 years It causes telomere attrition as well because it causes stress, cancer, anger, weakened immune system, and stress in the younger people. And you see how violent and like grabby and like they are. And when there's the older guy in the crowd and he's in a relationship with the female, it's a little calmer. You're starting to see a little more age gap stuff. But really, I do think it should be the law. I think that if you're under 35 and a male, you shouldn't be allowed to have sex because of the telomere attrition it's caused in the kids for 100 years. You look at the young kids now, which are called Generation Z, that are younger than the millennials. They've got more eye problems than the baby boomers did at that period of time when they were kids in the 50s. The millennials are far more sexist, racist, and homophobic than Generation X, my generation. Plenty of studies on this, plenty of studies on the fact that women mature a decade and a year before men do. Really, right there, that is enough accumulated evidence that we need to raise the age of male consent to 35. And you look at this, and it's always the people under 35 calling me a creep, or Republicans. So just look at that, you bigots, and, you know, open up creep with me. I'm just going to say you're a bigot and shut you down. You blush, of course, because you know you're damn wrong. And I usually don't even read the YouTube comments anymore because they're all fuck yous, and it's all downplay on my YouTube things, and it's usually just the smart-ass people born in the 1990s or the Republicans giving me thumbs down. So really, I'm just here like, you know, that just shows indicative of the problem that even if you're a Democrat or a liberal, you're so age-phobic and bigoted. And I'm not looking for sex. I'm looking to go out on a date to maybe the Italian Kitchen or Sante. Before it was like I was chastised because I was homeless. I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist, so maybe that's part of the reason why you call me creepy. I don't know why you're calling me gross or ugly. It's not funny to me anymore. It never really was. I just block you if you say anything disparaging to me. Just like if you were to, I don't know, you say anything disparaging to me on Facebook, I block you. End of story. I don't need your smart mouth. My name is Lucas Werner. My website is Conversation Our Age. I got enough references of what I'm talking about to choke a breeding horse. Oh, that's another thing. Whenever we breed livestock, farmers usually, you hear the phrase "put out to pasture." Well, the stud is put out to pasture after he's done racehorse, and they bring the young fillies in, and they bring forth the new gelding child horse because it creates the strongest horse, older male horse, younger female horse. And we do this a lot with livestock. In fact, we pretty much always do this with livestock. Animals instinctually know to go together when they're younger female, older male, because high progestin females with high telomerazine in the sperm males and low telomerazine in the body creates the strongest mate and bonding pattern for the parents with their children and male to female mate, and it just creates the strongest DNA and creates the strongest happiness. I got enough references for you. Don't worry about that. I will fight you with the references. I'm not creepy. Whoever's saying this is just bullshitting you. Conversationrage.weebly.com. Seems like I should. I don't know who said this, but they said this best. If you're gonna nig 'em, I'm gonna be right there nigging 'em with you.